Hello guys, welcome back to Red Hot TV today. How Sars murdered my 3 sons. Distraught woman who is now childless and abandoned by husband bemoans her fate. When you talk of man's humanity to man, this is perhaps the very height of it. A woman is blessed with 3 promising sons that she hoped would take good care of her in her old age, while they lived and conducted their daily affairs. While she sets eyes on them every day, she had this hope that one day her situation in life will change. She hoped that they would take care of the baton from her and her husband and begin to care and cater for their needs as they did for them while they were in diapers. That is all parents worth their name and their responsibility, nest that hope and deep within. But this is not the case for Mrs. Ukamaka Obasi, a native of Onweke in Eza South local government area of Ebonyi State. But alas, it was not to be, as her 3 sons were murdered in cold blood within a space of 3 years by operatives of the Special Anti-Robbery Squad, Sars, Anambra State Headquarters, Okuzu. With tears streaming down her cheeks, she recounted in an interview how the operatives rendered her childless following their extrajudicial killings between 2012 and 2014. According to the thoroughly devastated woman who was later abandoned by her husband after the misfortunes, her ordeal started when one night in July 2012, she returned to their residence at Umenweke Street, Okpoko, Obaru local government area of Anambra State, and was greeted with the news of her first son, Ebuka, being picked up by Sars operatives at his clothing shop located at Sokoto Road, Fegi, Onitsha. He was accused of being a member of the movement for the actualization of the sovereign state of Biafra, Mazob. By the time we received the information, it was already late, she said. So the following morning, I and his father, Thomas Obasi, went to Sars headquarters at Okuzo. They confirmed to us that he was in their custody. They told us to continue to bring food to him until they finished their investigations so that we could take him out on bail. We continued to do so. We did this for about 1 week. Each time I visited, I would be made to pay 2,000 naira at the counter before I could be allowed to give him food. But on one of the days when I brought food for him, one of the female officers there told me to stop bringing food because he had been executed. His father and I wept uncontrollably before we left Sars office. We made several efforts to confront the authorities of the anti-robbery unit to tell us the offense our son committed that led to his execution. But our efforts yielded no fruits. Yet we have not been able to see his dead body till date. Honestly, it was very difficult to convince people in our village that our son, who was 20 years old then and was planning for his traditional marriage in 3 months' time, was arrested and killed by Sars based on the allegation that he was a member of Masob. Second son similarly framed up and killed. As if they were not done with their evil deeds, in August 2013, about 1 year after the murder of our first son, the same Sars operatives in Okuzu arrested our second son, Obiora, on the same false allegation of being a Mazob member. Before then, he had taken over his brother's shop after his demise in the hands of Sars. But it happened that one fateful day, as he was returning from the market, Sars operatives on routine patrol arrested him at Fegi area of Onitsha and took him to their Okuzu headquarters. We learned that a good number of boys returning from market that fateful evening were also arrested. Again, my husband and I went to their headquarters at Okuzu. They confirmed to us that his name was among those arrested for allegedly belonging to Mazob. They told us to bring him food so that he would not starve. We kept bringing food to him for a period of 2 weeks. Each time we went there, we would be asked to bring money at the entrance gate and also at the counter before my son could be allowed to receive the food. I had to pay dearly for 2 weeks. I took food to him at the place, but she was again devastated when, after going there for weeks, she was informed, like in the first case, to stop bringing food to the place because her son is dead. Her account on one of those days, after 2 weeks of detaining my second son at the Sars headquarters, Okuzu, I was told by one of the officers to stop coming. He told me that they had confirmed that my son was a Mazob member, and because of that, he had been killed. It happened that my husband accompanied me that very day. When the information was broken to us that our second son had been killed, my husband collapsed. Thereafter, medical doctors at the popular Ndeli hospital at Okuzu, where he was rushed to after the collapse, fought tirelessly, but they could not revive him. From that very day, my husband started developing different health problems, but that is a story for another day. The last stroke that broke the camel's back for the poor woman and made her childless was when her third son was framed for armed robbery and sent to his early grave in the hands of Sars operatives. She told Saturday Sun how it happened. In October 2014, I and my husband were alerted that our last son, Chibike, who was about 18 years old, then was arrested by Sars operatives attached to Okpoko police station. The information was that he was riding on a motorcycle with one of his friends to go and buy condemned iron materials, popularly known as scraps, when they were arrested by Sars operatives at the Opiweka area of Onitsha and taken to Okpoko police station. When we got to the station, we were told to come back the following day, but when we did, the Sars commander at Okpoko told us that he had been transferred to their headquarters at Okuzu. When we got to Okuzu, Sars operatives there confirmed to us that his name was among those in the cell and asked her to continue bringing food for him. An officer told her to stop coming to the gate. She said the officer was positioned at the entrance gate. It happened that when I was talking with my husband, she overheard us. That was how we got to know that she was from our area in Ebonyi State. She told us frankly that our son died about 4 days after he was brought to Sars office, and that officers in charge of the cell were the people eating the food I was bringing to him. She told us that our son was accused of being an armed robber who had been on the wanted list of Sars. We insisted that we must enter Sars office because we were not convinced about the information. When we got to the counter, the cell officer came to take the food, but we told him that we want to see Chibike and speak with him. It was during the ensuing argument that we came to realize that our son was no more in their cell. When my husband and I begged them to show us the bodies of our children, nobody spoke to us. Rather, we were pushed out of the station after the officers called us all sorts of names, including corrupt parents, parents of criminals, and so on. It was based on these developments that my husband left me. He went back to Ebonyi State some years back and refused to come back to Onitsha to date. I am alone here managing my own life. Saddled with mounting debts from incarceration, but it's a life shackled by debts incurred from the incarceration and death of her sons, she explained. During those years of persecution, we spent a lot of money. Friends and family members contributed money to assist us. We also borrowed a lot of money while trying to secure their bail. We spent over 900,000 naira in the hands of the Sars operatives because on each occasion they would ask us to bring 150,000 or 200,000 naira, promising that they would release our son, but at the end they would kill them. That situation, coupled with indebtedness made by husband to leave Anambra State because he could not pay what he borrowed, and creditors were disturbing us. The human rights activist Comrade Nweke of the Oppressed Voice International described the story of Mrs. Ukamaka Obasi and her family as a very pathetic one. Wow. In any civilized society, A crime suspect is presumed innocent until he is proven otherwise by a court of competent jurisdiction. It was not so in Sars. It is an open secret that in the defunct Okuzu Sars, youths were killed extrajudicially and their kidneys and other relevant body parts harvested and sold to rich men. Nigeria government must ensure that such thing never happened again in the country. Government should see the recent uprising in the country as a big lesson. There are people who were commissioners of police during James I-First's reign of terror. Those people should also be invited for questioning because they never supervised the SARS, or probably they earned from the proceeds of corruption in the unit. If urgent step was not taken, what happened in SARS will continue to happen in any other units of the Nigeria Police Force. What a sad tale, what a sad story. So guys, if you have anything to say concerning this, drop your comments in the comment section, and please don't forget to subscribe to this channel. Thank you.